All right. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here tonight. I'm Michael Saeteurn, founder of BAONG, co-founder of BAONG, and we're a modern Mien community. We're here to help elevate the Mien community and share insights featuring professionals and business owners. This is our Mien Talk series and our fourth episode of doing this. None of this is scripted. We do follow a few points to stay on track with the show. But other than that, we kind of just freestyle this and just kind of get to learn and open up and share things that we've learned doing business. So tonight, I'm super excited to have Brian Saeteurn with me here. Brian Saeteurn is an agency owner in insurance, and he has an amazing story to tell. And I included a little snippet, but if you didn't catch it, he sold his home last year and he started his business. And as of last month, in December 2019, he was rated #1 in the region for insurance. So join me here in welcoming Brian Saeteurn. If you're on live, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. It helps us know, that you're tuned in. So here we go. Brian, welcome, man. Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Cool. Okay, Brian. Everyone's excited. We're all here to know. We have a few people tuning in right now. A few people still trickling in. But please, let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started. How did you just become an Allstate owner?
Yeah. I've been doing insurance for a little over 10 years. A little bit about my background. Obviously, I'm Brian Saeteurn. I'm co-owner of the Allstate agency here. We actually call it the Eric Velasquez and Brian Saeteurn Allstate Insurance Agency. And I turned 30 last year in October. Married, 2 kids. I was born and raised in Oroville, California. I've been doing insurance again, like I said, for about 10 years. And I'm 30 now, so it's nearly my entire adult life. It's pretty crazy to think back about that. And I want to say that I live and breathe insurance. I've been doing it long enough to where I can comfortably dive into different situations and be able to give advice and talk about some of the experiences I've had. With me, I haven't really had any formal education. It's really all on the job and real world experience. I think that's the best way to do it. Because if you're sitting in a classroom, right, it's just one of those things where how am I going to apply that? And so with real world experience, I was able to take what I learned and implement it into my agency. So I started originally with a company called Cost You Less 10 years ago, selling just car insurance, and kind of hit the ceiling. I only had one product to sell with many different carriers, but it was really having the same conversations over and over again. So from there, I looked for other employment. That's where I started with AAA. I was an agent with AAA for about 6 years. And I'd have to say that really that was a turning point for me. I think that's because I was able to offer a variety of different insurance products. And when I was there, I really considered my manager that I was working for at the time as my mentor. I learned so much from him and from working in corporate America, and was able to grow not just professionally but also as an individual. So from there, after working for someone else and not really having a whole lot of control over my own compensation, what I made and things like that, I saw tons of opportunity elsewhere. And me and my business partner Eric, we knew we wanted to stay in the insurance industry, but really didn't know where to go. So we did tons of research, and we looked into different types of insurance agencies. There was independent agencies. You can be a captive agent, and we eventually, landed on an Allstate agency. And, some of the things that I was looking for was really building equity in my business. And with Allstate, I really was able to do that.
Wow. You just mentioned something there that's really interesting. You have a partner in the business.
I'm sorry, Mike. Hey, I think you might be on mute there, bud.
Am I on mute? Can you hear me?
Oh, you know what, Mike? I can't hear you, bud.
You can't hear me?
I'm sorry about this, guys. No, I'm sorry. I still can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Sounds like keep going. Okay. We talked a little bit about what I wanted to talk to everyone about today, and you'd asked me to talk about what my biggest accomplishments were,
Yeah,
right?
can you hear me?
And I think for me, I think it was really to just start, just to go into being self-employed and being a business owner. I think to take the leap of faith was the hardest part because leaving my job with tons of security, and it was really a comfortable living. At the time I had, made a decent wage, had great benefits, retirement, and everything set up. But, I think, I knew that at a certain point, I'd hit a ceiling, right? Again, with compensation and, with being self-employed, I think initially with anything else, you're going to put 110% into it, right? And make sure that you do really, really well. And then eventually look to start tapering back a little bit, right? And then from there, I think what I'd like to do personally is to have more time with the family. When we were first doing this, we needed a ton of capital, right? So we needed lots of money to do this. And, I didn't have, 50 grand laying around to start my business. So my wife and I, we decided to sell our house for this vision of mine, right? So I had to first off sell myself that I could do it, and then I had to sell my wife on it, and that was super emotional. The house that we lived in, that's where our kids grew up. We moved to Chico, and we had our daughter, and we stayed in that home, and so it was really like, where kind of our story began, with that. And the great thing was about my wife is that she's super supportive. I don't think without her I could do really all of what I'm doing now, because, there's some days where I just come home and I'm like, oh, I'm beat, and with all the support there, I don't know if I could have done it without her. But yeah, that's I would say that's my biggest accomplishment there.
Can you hear me now? I'm back on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, sweet. Okay, so I had to check out some settings, and then someone actually said, "Hey, I can hear both of you guys. If you're joining us live right now, please give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, show us some life. Drop in a comment. Let us know where you're listening from. If you're from Sacramento, Seattle, wherever, we'd love to know. We have Brian here. He just shared his amazing story. He sold his home, the home of where his children grew up in or were born into, to go all into your dream. That's insane. And you mentioned the capital. What was the capital investment to start this business?
So my partner and I had to come up with 100 grand to
wow.
start the business. Yeah. Wow. So it was a good chunk of change. And again, it actually really came down to liquidating my retirement fund or selling my home. And so it was a tough one because you can't just put a bunch of money into a 401k. You have to build into it and all that good stuff. And so our decision was eventually to sell our home.
Was that because of the liquidity they need to see as available assets?
Yeah, exactly. So they needed to see the funds. And I think this is with most businesses where, like, let's say if you're looking to acquire a loan, right, and you need to put a down payment or even buying a home, right, you can't just pull out $100,000 in cash and say, hey, here you go. They actually, there's a whole process to that. They wanted to see the funds in the account for a certain amount of time, where it came from. I think it has a lot to do with, FINRA and, like money laundering, things like that. So
what's FINRA for people who aren't in the financial space? FINRA?
So FINRA is kind of like the authority in the financial industry, right? They write all the laws and tell all the banks what they can and can't do. And if you don't abide by those rules, it's some pretty hefty fines.
I can relate to that. My buddy, Chill in Oroville, he's got his restaurant.
Yeah.
And basically, when he was trying to get his restaurant and trying to get like the liquor license, all that kind of stuff, he had to get approval, had to have the funding to show where he got the money from. So I can relate to that, and he shares some. We're actually gonna have him on, and we're gonna have him on the show. So Chill, if you're tuning in later,
awesome.
We're looking forward to hear your story too. So man,
awesome.
that's crazy. Cashed in on your dreams, went all in. How long has the business been running officially? Your business here?
So we opened our doors in June. And
June,
so,
okay, wow.
So we've been doing it for about 6 months. And, before opening the agency, it took us a year to officially open our doors, it was just it was a lot, but I feel like it's gonna it's gonna build a future that I want to see myself in and for my family.
Right, right. And man, this is just crazy. So you launched, you're up and going, and you just made number one in your region, right?
Yeah, for the month of December, it's pretty exciting.
That's
And
crazy.
for those of you guys watching, in insurance, in the insurance industry, or even the financial industry as a whole, you guys will know that December is the slowest time of the year, which is because there's Christmas. Nobody wants to talk about insurance, and then there's the New Year holiday, and there's tons of breaks in between that, and so really proud of my team. We got a group of 5 guys right now. I actually got my brother, Brian Saeteurn. Shout out to you, man. He's a beast. He does really, really well. And so I'm really proud of my team.
So that's what you attributed to the team in December?
Yeah, yeah. So with I think with sales in general, you have to build your pipeline, right? When you talk to somebody, you don't sell them insurance the same day. You just talk to as many. It's a numbers game. Talk to as many people as you can, right? And then from there, they'll do their own research, comparing, and then they look at potentially switching over. And so we just built this pipeline that actually helped us finish off the year really strong.
Oh wow, wow! So it was a process, a step-by-step process from when you launched June into prospecting, talking to people, and it just
Oh
snowballed, man.
man, yeah,
It snowballed into December.
yeah,
That's
yep,
crazy.
yep,
Wow.
absolutely, yeah.
I want
So
to take a step back. I'll take it a step back. Talk about the
okay,
mortgage. I
yep.
mean, I think that's a huge, huge decision. Not a lot of people just like, I'm going to sell my house and go all in. I mean, I'm sure you're married. You have a wife. She
Right.
probably had something to say, right? I mean, what was on her
Oh
mind?
yeah.
What does your family
Oh my
think? What do your
gosh.
friends think?
Yeah. No, it was tough. The great thing about my folks is that they're very supportive. Growing up, I think this is just like a Mien thing,
Tell us about
but
that.
but your parents are there, but in my case, they were always working, right? Just always doing something, keeping busy, and so there wasn't a ton of that guidance. But as I've grown up, actually gotten a lot closer to my parents, which is I'm very, very grateful for that. And then when I approached them, I was like, "Hey, Dad, this is what I want to do." And my dad's like, "I believe in you. You can do it. You should do it." And then from there,
That's awesome.
as I mentioned earlier, I had to sell my wife on the dream. You know, and so it was like I said, it was super emotional. But she saw my dream, and she believed in it. She believed in me, and it definitely helped out to have my wife to be that person to support me. So
All right, man. We got a lot of questions
yeah.
here. People are joining us from Oakland, from Elk Grove. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining on the show here. Someone's taking notes from DC, Virginia. Wow. So that's
Wow.
crazy. And
Awesome.
we had
Awesome.
one question here from Yoon Seichao asked, "Hey, what kind of insurance do you sell?"
So we're Allstate Insurance, and that's a great segue, by the way. Thank you. So we're Allstate Insurance. We do home, we do auto, we do life insurance, and we do commercial insurance. And so we'll do just about anything, but we unfortunately don't do health insurance at this time.
No health insurance. And what do you like doing the most? I mean, if you could do the policy all day and write those, I mean, what would you enjoy doing?
Man, that's a good one.
There's certain
I've
like
been like I said,
customers for certain policies.
yeah. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I it's just really any product. What I enjoy is actually the face to face with the clients, and this is kind of a double edged sword because I really enjoy the sales process, really enjoy getting to know my clients, but as the agency owner, there's tons of admin work, right? So I'm stuck in this little office here. I'm doing tons of paperwork, checking reports and things like that. But I'd have to say, my passion is to help people, right? To provide great service, to really just take care of people and make sure they're well protected.
Wow. Hey, man, can you show us your office for a second? Can you pick that up and
Uh,
walk?
yeah. So
Give
this
us a
is
look. Give us a look.
so this is my private office right here, and I've actually got the my Sorry guys, gonna get dark here for a second. I'm actually in my office here. This is the little break room I got, and a little hallway. And from here, this is the actual office space. So this is it. Just a little shop that I decided to get going.
Dude, that's nice. I love the lobby. Your lobby looks awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It that also took a lot of time, but yeah, it's good. It turned out really great. Lots of really positive feedback from clients coming in. Like, oh wow, it's really modern, looks really good. So it's another way
Absolutely.
to kind of stand out and do well.
All right, I'm gonna point out the big elephant in the room because I introduced it in the teaser of this topic. There was something, right? There was a big challenge for you in the business. Can you share about that? I mean,
Oh yeah,
what was that?
yeah.
What did that cost?
Yeah. Oh
Experiencing
man,
that.
it cost me, yeah, it cost me $5,000, right? And so what it was we opened our doors and we were like, okay, it was a team of six, it was six of us at the time, and we're like, okay, we're gonna kill this, right? We actually started purchasing leads online, and we really just did like the shotgun effect, right? So we we just found like, I don't know, I want to say like 10 different companies, and we're like, just buy a ton of leads. These people are going to call us, they're going to email us, we're going to do this and that, and
Hold on,
spend a
hold on.
bunch of money.
I'm gonna pause for just a second. For most
Okay.
people who aren't into this and about like marketing and online marketing, leads are basically imagine if you guys are looking to get a quote online, you type in car insurance in Google, right? And Allstate pops up or whatever. And you type in your information, you're looking for auto insurance and stuff like that. Basically, when you submit that form looking for a quote, Brian gets those leads. I mean, if he buys them,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the
And not
complete,
cheap. So yeah. But so purchased all these leads the first week. We were really gung ho, spent $5,000, and we flopped because we really didn't do the research on what company has the best results and quality clients and type of clients we're looking for. So it was just, man, it was a big learning moment. And so we just said yes, let's do it. We're young, we're like, you know what, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it big. And I think what I took from it was, I really should have done the research. I really should have just stepped back and took a look at some of the reviews and called some other agencies, not too close to me because I don't know if they necessarily be too honest, but just kind of ask around, so
what do you get?
that was my big learning moment.
Okay. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people, we all go through some sort of frustration, especially in professional or business wise, and not a lot of people are willing to share that. And I'm so glad that you do because, a lot of people can relate to that. There's something that got in their way, right, of their goal, their desire, whatever. And sometimes people don't want to share that because they're afraid like, oh man, that's going to embarrass me. But you know what it is? I've experienced something just like that too. And it put me at 10,000. Right. And I thought I was never gonna see that
Nice.
money again. I was still in college, right? When I went through that phase, and I was just like, oh my God, I've never had that much money out at once. And
Yeah.
it terrified me. I'm glad it's over now. I ended up
Right.
recovering it, but I mean that's a different story.
Yeah, but so I think like what people need to learn about that is that if you flop, you fail, you gave it a shot. If you don't try, you just won't know.
Right,
And so if
right.
you just take these like fails as a learning moment, you want to just reflect, how could you have done things differently, right? Instead of burning a bunch of cash and all that. So
That's why we're on the show, to share insights,
hey,
to
yeah,
share, things with the Mien
absolutely.
community that most people wouldn't find out otherwise. I think, a lot of us want to start a business, right? And that, we can transition to that. What's the big advice, if you were to give that to your former self or someone who's kind of like on the edge, thinking about wanting to start a business?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like for me, it was just to go ahead and do it. Just jump into it, with both feet, and but of course, before you do your research, right? You want to make sure that you have money to live off and not drain all your funds, right? Because that can get really scary really quick, and that causes you to make some really some decisions that you wouldn't necessarily have done if you weren't stressed out, but yeah, just making sure that, you have a plan, right? And you build a business plan, right? So I've talked to a handful of people about this, and they've approached me and said, "Hey, Brian, this is what I'm going to do. How can you help me?" And what I tell them is have a solid business plan, do research. And when you go out there, right, you know what you're doing. You're not just kind of, learning how to do things on the fly, or just kind of making these decisions, last minute.
Absolutely. I think it also helps to kind of be in whatever you enjoy doing, right? Because I get
Yeah.
this vibe from you. I mean, you're like glowing. You can love to just talk about not even about insurance, but talk about helping people. I get that from you.
Yeah.
And every time we have these conversations, I'm just like, man. And it shows. It shows even in your online reputation, your Google reviews. You guys got like 5 stars. They're glowing, and the people are like super happy. I'm looking at it right now. So,
Nice.
you love
Yeah.
what you do, and people love you. So, I mean,
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate, like my clients that leave me reviews. Every time I see a review, I'm super, super humbled by it. And, I always, make it a point, and I talk to my guys about this, is that whenever you get positive feedback, what you need to do is you need to reach out to them and say, "Hey, thank you very much for those kind words. Is there someone else that can help out?" Right? Is there, do you know of anybody else that, could benefit from savings, from switching over to Allstate and from having great service? So
absolutely, right there, little plug. Guys,
yeah,
if you need some services, Brian, maybe you can help them out, right? Can they
yeah,
keep
yeah,
contact with you at the end of this?
yeah, absolutely. You can call my agency, Google Brian Saeteurn, right? I don't think there's too many Brian Saeteurns, so you'll see me come up right away.
There
You
you
can
go,
call
guys.
me, yeah, text me, PM me, whatever you got to do, reach out.
And it's okay for me if I'm shopping because I have one of the other your competitors. I think I have Geico and State Farm, and I told you about my policy. I got a couple of them.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
You can do some sort
yeah.
of consolidation or stack that.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and this isn't just like an Allstate thing, right? But you can actually, it's actually better in most cases to go ahead and just combine all of your insurances with one company, because you're getting a bunch of discounts otherwise if you're not doing it. So if you have your home, your auto insurance, your life insurance, find a way to do it all with one carrier, whether if it's with me or with a different company. See if you can just put it all together, because that's really where you're going to see the biggest savings.
I have a personal question that's related with like business because I've heard of this
Sure.
from other people. I mean, is there a possibility of buying like say the whole life insurance and then using it as collateral? Let's say you want to start a business.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one way to do life insurance, right? So there's different types of policies. There's whole life insurance, there's universal life insurance, and you'd have to put money into it, right? Not just the minimum, right?
Mhm.
And what it does is it actually builds value. You accumulate value, and down the road, if you wanted to take a loan from it, or if you want to withdraw it, right? You can do those things with life insurance, and and if you decide, hey, I want to make sure that I can use this money for my children's education, right? Let's say when you hit 55, 60, midlife crisis, I'm just going to buy a car, right? You do whatever you want with that money. It's your money, right? So different ways you can do with life insurance.
Okay. And then, I mean, let's just say for my age, I'm 32 here. I'm healthy. I don't have any problems. I have assets under me. What would you recommend? I mean, being at my stage, should I get some like term and what is term versus like the other one, whole life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So term insurance is, you think about it as if you're renting, right? You don't necessarily own it, because a term policy is, it ends after a certain period of time, right? So let's say, Mike, hey, you're 32, you said?
Yeah, 32. And what's that cost
32.
roughly, like range?
Oh man, term insurance is the way to go if you're on a budget, for
Way to
sure.
go.
Like if
How
like
much is that? How
you,
much is that coverage? If something were to happen to me
it's
accidentally.
right. So it could be as low as like $10 a month,
10 bucks,
right?
10 bucks.
It's super cheap. If you don't have life insurance, do it, because if tomorrow is never promised, and if something happens down the road, I always think about my kids first, right? I
Right.
also think about my wife, how we're going to pay the mortgage, right? So all that is important to me. And so I personally have like 3 life insurance policies on me.
That's me.
Don't tell my wife, but yeah. And so if something were to happen to me, I know that my wife and my kids are taken care of, right? And it's funny because I almost talk about it as like an incentive, right? If something were to happen to me, right, my wife all of a sudden would be like a millionaire. So it's kind of funny. We joke about it, but you know, on a serious note, it's everyone should have it.
Oh, yeah, my biggest fear is, being in the Mien community. I think it's really relatable. We hear it a lot, right? Being in the Mien community, someone accident, something happens, someone suffers from cancer, and then suddenly the family is suddenly, they have to come up with the money. I know
Right.
that we have this in the community. It's deep. The community is a huge problem, right? We have to start going around to
Right.
all of our cousins, our distant relatives, someone that we've never even talked to, right?
Right.
And then we start to collect money, and we're
Right.
right? We have to start to
Yep.
kind of like pull together cash, emergency funds, and it's a big thing. We're lucky. We're very fortunate, compared to like a lot of other communities that we're able to do this. But I don't ever want my family to ever be put in that position, and that's one of the reasons why I get term life insurance. And
Yeah.
what's the range for $10 a month? What does that cover? Is that 25,000, 50?
That'd be
Typically
like between $50 to $100,000. You know, like
50 to
things like your
100,000.
height. Yeah. So like your height, your weight, your age all plays a role in it. You know, we're young, right? I mean, we're in our 30s, right? We're not,
Right. Yeah.
exactly young, but you know, we're young enough to where if we buy this insurance, it'll be cheap enough to where if you're on a really tight budget, you know, you're really doing the best thing for your family,
That's what
right?
I think about.
You think about it, and you know, do you love your car or do you love your family more, right? So you buy car insurance to protect your car if something were to happen, right? But you don't buy life insurance to protect your family, right? That's just it's
Dude,
kind of different way to think about it. You know, it's crazy.
that is crazy, and it's so easy when you put it like that. It's like you're
Yeah.
gonna protect your car, but really, the car insurance is not to protect your car; it's to protect you from the other guy suing after you. Coming after you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm not into risk assessment and stuff, but I just I put the two together, and
Yep.
that's one thing that's always stuck in my mind. Right? Do I want my children have to go collect money on my behalf? Right? Or could I have put that
Yeah.
$10 that Netflix cancel that Netflix so I can cover my kids? And
Right.
that's
Right.
always in
Stop going to
mind.
Starbucks. You know.
Right. So 2 Starbucks,
Yeah.
right? Cancel 2 Starbucks a week, a month, and then you can afford what, 50K, you said? 50 to 100,000?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right. Right.
That is insane.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we're talking about here. Well, I mean, is there a secret being in this industry? Is there something you've learned that you can share? Some advice? I know we've got some
Man, a
people that are in this
secret.
industry too. So I don't know if there's something you want to share, but I mean, it would help out.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I think I think for me, what has really helped me a lot is that I've kind of surrounded myself around like really positive people, right? People not, you know, dragging me down, telling me you should do this, you shouldn't do that, right? If you surround yourself around people like you, Mike, right, where you're ambitious, you know, you want to run a business, things like that, you know, you pick up on that, right? You pick up that vibe. It's like, damn, Mike's doing all these fantastic things. He's doing BAONG. He's, you know, running like a couple other businesses, and you know, and he's reaching out to the Mien community to help other people out. You know, that's the biggest thing, is that like if you surround yourself around people who will be positive and supportive, I mean, the sky's the limit.
I absolutely believe it, man. I just try to stay forward. Being 2020, you just mentioned, we're not getting any younger, right? So it's time to start thinking forward, thinking about where we want to be in the next 5 years of our lives, and then we're
Yeah.
actually commit to it. So, I mean, that kind of leads to the next part. What's your 2020 vision, your business goals and personal goals? Tell us about that.
So yeah. So as far as business, looking to expand, and so I'd like to acquire another agency in the nearby city, right? So we're looking to grow. That also means that it gives me the opportunity to help out some of our Mien folks if they wanted to get into the insurance industry, if they want to learn sales, customer service, right? There'll be an opportunity there down the road. As far as my personal goals, finding more time for the family, uh, right now it's a lot of working, right? I mean, I called you the other night and it was like 7:30 and you were still at the office. It's just the grind. right? The dream is to have a healthy work-life balance, right? You don't want to have, you know, too much time at the office because, you know, you sacrifice things, you know, by not watching your kids grow up, sacrificing time with your, you know, your partner, your spouse, right? That's super important. Having a healthy personal life. So
Absolutely, man.
that's what I'm focused on.
Dude, wow, you just kind of summarized, my 2020 inline visions too. I don't know if I want to do an episode to share that. My last one, I kind of talked about it, outlining the visions. But if people want to see it, kind of like where my mind is focused, I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more mic we get, the better. Honestly, you know, you have a lot of really good input, and I think a lot of people will really benefit from it. And I've actually benefit from it. You know, just kind of reading your bio and like, you know, one of the things that I think I touched on when I was just talking to you was that, you know, you said, you know, how come other Mien people don't help Mien people? You know, that was mind baffling. You know, you know, in the past I wasn't in a position to help someone. But, you know, now it's like, okay, we're older now, we have the experience. Why not put your hand out to help other folks, you know? And I
Dude,
think, you know, your platform, you have the perfect platform to do that, Mike. You're young, good looking guy, you know, making things happen.
hey man, we all good looking. It must be that me and genetics, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think some people are joining in later. It's like, no, who's this guy? Who's this guy? And they probably didn't catch your age. But Brian here is. Can you say it again for us? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 30. I'm 30 years old.
30 years old. It looks like he just got out of college, right?
Yeah, I don't
You got
feel
the
it.
look, man. You got the look. People are loving discussion. We love all the
Uh,
positivity and the comments you guys are leaving. Thank you so much. Someone mentioned here, it's a great topic that we talked about where families worry about insurance and then someone passing away and then leaving a burden to their family. So
yeah.
yeah, I think talking about that topic, diving in deeply, and guys, Ryan here is open to not just talking about insurance too. If you guys want to learn and talk about other options, to evaluate things about your family, maybe reposition yourself and use policies, right, to help leverage that.
Hmm.
He's open to
Yeah,
you, and
absolutely.
I'm gonna drop his contact info on the bottom of this post later on, so you guys can contact him, reach out to him directly. Uh, right now, you just joined something big in the local community, right? I think we've seen the
Yeah,
last 5
actually,
minutes. Tell us about
I wanted to
that.
talk
Tell
about
us about
that.
that. You just joined
So
something.
at Orba, yes, at Orba we have a nonprofit. We're working on getting a nonprofit status. It's called the Mien Alliance, and we're doing some pretty amazing things. I recently joined on as a board member, and you know what I envision for BIMA, right? Mien, is that we're supporting our kids because kids are our future, right? And so we're doing tons of different fundraisers to sponsor these kids when they go to school, offer scholarships and things like that. On the 19th, I believe it's the 19th. I'll have to double check that, but we're doing a New Year egg thing where we're making these eggs, right? So
Oh, the egg dye.
what we
Egg
would
dye.
egg dyeing, yeah, that's
Okay.
right, that's right. So we're dyeing these eggs, right? We're selling them to Stone's Casino, and we took this as a great opportunity for the kids to learn more about it, because I can guarantee you my kids have only seen the egg but really didn't put any thought behind it. And so this is a great event for anyone who's available. Definitely come through. It's going to be at the Hmong Cultural Center in Oroville on the 19th. So
Cool. So
anybody
you guys are
available, come through,
collaborating.
come learn. Yep,
Okay.
that's
Well,
right.
you just said you're VP of BIMA. Is that true?
Yeah. That was an interesting conversation. But I think what we all left after we had that meeting was that like everyone is we all have the same goal, right? And so and that's just to support our Mien people, right? Not just the young kids, but also the elders, right?
Mhm.
And making sure that we grow as a community, because we all know how tough it was when we were growing up. So
Absolutely. I love what you guys are doing, and especially sharing about the egg dyeing. If you guys share some more information online, let me know. I'd love to, repost it through our channels and create more awareness. I think a lot more people need to know about that, why we started doing that. There's a lot of history behind egg dyeing and the cultural
yeah,
value. So, props to you guys and congratulations on your position with BIMA. That's exciting.
thank you, thank you.
All right, all right. Is there anything else just to wrap this up? We just hit the mark here. Is there anything else you want to share or leave behind for the community here?
You know what? I'd have to say that the two things I talked about, was just to take action, right? Do your research, take action, make sure that, when you start something, you're prepared to follow through with it. And hey, if you flop, it's a great learning moment, and it's very humbling. I can tell you that. And then the other thing was to make sure you surround yourself around people who are uplifting and positive and will support you. So stay away from those who just want to hold you down and not support you in your endeavors.
Right there, you guys. You heard it from the man, Brian Saeteurn with Allstate. And I don't think we mentioned your location. Where are you at? Where's the office?
So our agency is located in Chico, California. It's 2760 Esplanade Suite 140. Again, that's Chico, California. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. I'm personally available 24/7 for anybody who wants to reach out to me. If you guys have just questions, if you guys need me to, hey, what happens if this happens? I want to be that resource for you guys. And our team, like I said, is amazing at what they do. And so I'm certain that, anything that you guys need, if you guys reach out to us, we'll be able to find you some good answers and some good advice.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank you guys all for tuning in here. Thank you so much, Brian, for showing up here. One last thing. I know that Brian briefly touched on it. He is expanding locations, guys. So if you're in the industry as well, connect with him. I think you guys can, the more we get people together to do more financial things, business related, I think it's just going to give back more opportunities to the community. One of my visions long-term is to hire more Mien people, but that's for another episode, which I'll be sharing soon.
Nice.
All right, Mike.
Nice. Can't wait to see you, man.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. And till next week, we have another speaker. That's it for now.
All right. Hey, thanks, Mike. Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.